Hello and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a preview of what I got coming up in this video. The first is actually from Jimmy of Bright Insight. It has nothing to do with UFOs, but he came across this killer whale that has been trapped inside of this bathtub for 52 years, as it says, and he'll be starting a campaign to try and get this poor animal freed. So if things like this piss you off, definitely check out the link, which will be in the description, and check out his video. Anyways, let's go on to this first video. This is a video that I found from Mr. BBB333, some images that were submitted to him of strange objects seen on the west coast of Florida. You have these two objects here that look like triangles, and then later on he sees other things that look like, he calls them meteors, but I think they're actually crafts returning from space. Also have this video here of a strange shape-shifting craft, and this is very similar to a video that I had posted of a similar incident that happened in China. Let's see, this is a video that was in Spanish. I couldn't understand what's going on, but I think some astronomers were taking photos of part in space, and they caught this object here. Also have this video about the 1966 Hillsdale College UFO sighting. And this UFO sighting was investigated by J. Allen Hynek, and that's when he came up with the term swamp gas. Also have this video about Dolores Cannon and her belief that the Earth was created by some alien beings and then populated with humans and other animals. Also have this photo here I found on Reddit of this strange hole in Fernie, BC. Don't really know anything much more about that. And this is a video from Brian Forrester about some tool marks that they have found on cut stones in Egypt. Also have this article about two caverns that were found inside of Earth. And it says they're 100 times higher than Mount Everest. This is possibly an environment that could be used by advanced beings. And then last is this article about these mummies of small women the size of human palms are kept in Asia. And here's a photo. These look very similar to the Atacama humanoid that guy Dr. Gary Nolan says is a human, but obviously not. It's 6 inches, extra rib, different shaped head. It's not a human. Anyways, let's go to this video here. This is from Mr. BBB, and like he says here, someone sent them these photos of, he thinks they're craft. But anyways, let me just play this here.
And they just happened to be shaped like pyramids or triangles in the sky. There was nothing else in the sky at the time she took the photos. They, again, were masquerading as clouds and could have been something else, kind of like what Joni saw up the road in Crystal River. So you've got something strange going on in Clearwater, something strange going on in Crystal River, and now we're going up to Trenton, Florida. Video footage sent in by Ken Garton, who has shared with me something extraordinary and been following the sky now for many years, and I've never seen this, especially in modern times, since the conception of outdoor sky cameras. You're looking at a meteor that was picked up on...
Now, I don't think they're meteors, right? Meteors have, extra stuff flying off of them, a bunch of debris. These have no debris flying off of them. I've seen so many other videos of what seems to be the same craft, so I'm going to call it a craft.
Is outdoor sky camera on April 25th of 2022, and this occurred at 11:43 p.m., once again, visible from Trenton, Florida. And you're right, it does happen all the time, probably more than we realize, as most of the Earth is occupied by water. We're on merely a small fraction of the dry land that occupies planet Earth. But here's what's strange. That same camera, you're going to look at 3 other meteors. Here's one back on February the 20th. Again, same camera looking at the north sky. Here's one on March 7th. Here's one on April the 9th. And here's the one you just saw on April the 25th. 4 different meteors, 4 different nights. Same exact camera, same exact location.
Yeah, I'm going to say that this is most likely a flight corridor being used by our neighbors. And yeah, these are not meteors. Meteors aren't going to constantly show up at the same spot. So they're crafts that are returning from, whatever mission or whatever they're doing out there. Anyways, link to this will be in the description. You know, he does have some other things too later on in the video, but yeah, definitely check out Mr. BBB333. Now let's go to this video here. Now this is some kind of shape-shifting craft that I believe is in Germany or something, because I think that's what this is. But this craft was also seen in China, and you know, I posted a video a few months back about that. But anyways, let me just play this one here. You know, later on in the video, it does change shape again to that. I wonder if this is the craft malfunctioning, or are they doing this on purpose to get our attention? But look at this thing. Anyways, link to this will be in the description. Let's go to this next video here. Now, like I said, this is in Spanish, but I believe this image was taken by some astronomers. Let me just play this here.
Es como si hubiese puesto una esquina en el cielo y dijeran, miren aquí, algo interesante está pasando. Observatorio de Kill Peak en Arizona. El astrónomo Jerry Scotty oye informes de un inusual cometa que viaja por el espacio y decide observarlo. Usó su telescopio de un...
You know, if this is a craft, I wonder if this thing back here is being caused by whatever propulsion system this craft is using. And this is just the result. This may be like an exhaust plume or something. Anyways, link to this will be in the description. Let's go to this one here. Yeah, now this is about this 1966 Hillsdale College UFO sighting. And then this guy also explains why, or the real purpose of J. Allen Hynek. But in here, he describes what the guy actually saw, or what one of the witnesses actually saw.
This light, these flashing lights, a singular blob coming down and landing a few hundred yards from the farmhouse that they were living in.
Well, first beginning, we were watching television, and we have 6 dogs here, and they started raising a fuss, in which they never do much. So I went outside and gave a yell at them. And as I turned around to come back on the porch, I looked to the north of me, and there looked like a fallen star meteor. It was red and kind of coming down and on about a 45. And so then I watched it, and I was going to see if it landed and then maybe go down and see what it was. And when it got to the top of the trees, it stopped, and a blue and a white light come on. And I looked at it, and I thought I was seeing things.
And let me just jump ahead to where this guy talks about J. Allen Hynek's true purpose.
Government is forced to send their UFO investigator, Dr. J. Allen Hynek. He did no science for UFOs. He never did an investigation. He was their debunker. He was, an astronomical consultant, scientific consultant. His job, and he admitted this later in writing in one of his books, his job was to disinterest the public in the whole UFO thing.
Famous Dutch astronomer Minnaert, in his book Light and Color in the Open Air, has this to say about swamps. He describes lights that have been seen in swamps by the astronomer Bessel and other excellent observers. The lights, he says, resembles tiny flames, sometimes seen right at the ground, sometimes floating above it. The flames go out in one place and suddenly appear in another, giving the illusion of motion. No heat is felt. The lights do not burn or char the ground. They can appear for hours, this is all a quotation, appear for hours at a time and sometimes for a whole night. Generally there is no smell and usually no sound except the popping sound of little explosions, such as when a gas burner ignites. This is precisely what was observed there.
Right. So he's saying that it was swamp gas, but obviously he's being sent by the government in order to cover this all up because they don't want this information out there that we are not alone on this planet. The government knows, and like I've said in my last video, all this stuff about we don't know, it's lies, and some of the people who don't know, maybe they don't know because this information is all compartmentalized and it's on a need to know basis, but for sure, the people at the highest levels of our government are very, very aware of these crafts and the beings that are operating them. Anyways, let's go to this next video. Now, this is about Dolores Cannon. Yeah, in this video, she explains how there are some advanced beings who have been tasked with spreading life all over the universe. But anyways, let me just let her explain it.
You have to go back to the very beginning because they are the ones who created us. The seeding of the planet Earth. How life began on Earth. I've written about it in my book, Keepers of the Garden. You can see why I call it that. And the custodians. They wanted me to understand the entire process so I would know what was happening. And believe me, they were under instruction from the source, God, if you want to put it that way. But what I found is you go all the way back to the beginning, it's called the archaic ones, is what they call it. They mean the old ones who went to different planets, are creating life everywhere that there was a suitability for life to come. And they go to different places. They said that there are councils, there are boards, there are councils over solar systems, there's councils over galaxies, and in all of these are the histories of the different planets. And they said when a planet reaches the point it can support life, that's a momentous time in the history of that planet.
Now, Linda Moulton Howe has also come across documents from the CIA that basically say the exact same thing. So anyways, a link to this will be in the description. Check it out. Let's go to this image here that I found on Reddit. Now, there isn't a lot of context about it. All I see is this hole here. And let's see. Let's check out this close-up. Yeah, that's a pretty big hole. I wonder if cloaked craft are using this, coming in and out, and we just can't see it, or are there crafts that are visible going in and out of this hole? I mean, if this is real, yeah, I have no idea. I've never heard of this. There was no link in the description about this, so who knows if it's real. Anyways, let's check out this video here by Brian Forrester. And the machine cut marks that have been found on these stones in Egypt.
So again, actually this stone here is basalt, which is about 6 to 7 on the Mohs scale out of 10. And where my finger is going, we see that it's actually not a straight line, but an arc. And we've been able to calculate that this was a circular saw of some kind. It was approximately 3/16 of an inch thick and upwards of 18 feet in diameter. So once again, in the 21st century, we do not have any kind of steel or other metal that you could possibly make a circular saw blade of that immensity with such a thinness. Now here we have alabaster. There's a drill hole. Actually, more specifically, this is called calcite. And where my finger is, that appears to be so even that it would be some kind of router device that did that. Again, the holes are perfectly circular. Once again in calcite, and where my fingers are, again it appears that some kind of router device was used on this stone.
Yeah, what amazes me is the quackademics who still insist that all of this was done by primitive people using primitive tools when the evidence indicates that it was used by advanced tools. Now, I'm sure there were primitive people that existed at this time, but there's more and more evidence to show that there were also highly advanced civilizations existing alongside some of the more primitive civilizations just like today. You know, I mean, we're sending probes out to Mars and to the far edges of our solar system. At the same time, we have uncontacted tribes living in the middle of the Brazilian rainforest who, you know, essentially have never changed. They're still living as if their ancestors must have lived 5,000 years ago, because they haven't had any contact with Western civilization. Again, you know, which I don't think Western civilization developed on this planet either. But anyways, check out this link. Let's go to this next article here about these caverns that were found in the earth, middle of the earth. Two mountains 100 times higher than Mount Everest found inside Earth trigger hollow earth theory. Since the 1970s, the discovery of two giant structures inside the Earth has baffled scientists. They are located on opposite sides of our planet, and their size may be compared to continents. Each of these structures is almost 100 times bigger than Mount Everest and is located at the core of the Earth at a depth of 2,900 kilometers. Seismic studies show that the discovered formations have a different composition than the rest of the Earth's mantle. The structure, known as an ultra-low velocity zone, is located on the boundary between Earth's superheated molten core and the solid mantle, lying directly underneath the volcanic Marquesas Island in French Polynesia and in the South Pacific. The structure, known as an ultra-low velocity zone, is located on the boundary between Earth's superheated molten core and the solid mantle, lying directly underneath the volcanic Marquesas Island in French Polynesia in the South Pacific, according to a study published in the journal Science. Now, I wonder if there's any UFO activity around these areas. Now, if we go down further in this article, you know, they do show you this image. It's this first photo of the hole at the pole. This is supposed to be before, you know, before they figured out that they had to cover it up. But again, I'm not too sure because that looks too perfect. Anyways, a link to this will be in the description. Check it out. Now, last is this article here about these mummies of small women the size of human palm are kept in Asia. Now, these look very similar to the Atacama humanoid. Fairies are popular characters in Western folklore, mainly English, Scottish, and Irish. They are usually described as cute little humanoid creatures with transparent wings, but this is a late Victorian tradition. In ancient fairy tales, they were described as a kind of luminous creature or as something green and more troll-like. But in the East, fairies were known long before the development of European civilization. Thus, in Buddhist cosmology, there are three main spheres of the universe, each of which is divided into several worlds. In one of them, called the Sky of Growth, live the little gods of Kumbanda, whose descriptions correspond exactly to the European idea of fairies. Their translucent bodies have a pale green color. They can become invisible to the human eye. They can fly. Kumbans reproduce in a plant way. They are born in the form of the fruits of the magical Nari palm tree. They are directly responsible for the plant world on Earth and protect it. Reproduce in a plant way. They are born in the form of the fruits of the magical Nari plants. Now, that might just be an explanation that was provided by, you know, people in the past with a simpler minds, so to say, and they just couldn't explain these creatures. But if these little beings were real, and, you know, we have evidence of the Atacama humanoid, and Attaboy, Ripley's Believe It or Not, also went around displaying a little creature like this, and they call it the Attaboy. So, you know, there must be these little humanoid creatures also living alongside us. And I wonder if they're still out there, but they're just better at hiding themselves from us. Anyways, the link to this will be in the description. That is going to be it for this video. If you like things like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'll have more things like this. Take care.